Hello and welcome to
Matter of Fiction.
I'm your host, Seth Allen, and in this programme we create a storybook of misguided lies and a glorious look at strange truths. Tonight's show is a special one. It has been stapled as the Rory Cooke special, as is why Rory Cooke is not actually hosting this show and I, Seth, am. In fact, Rory is partaking in one of the teams. So, introducing the teams, our first team, Team Rory, Rory Cooke.
Hello, I am behind the mic this time.
And his guest, Dan Short.
Hello, I'm behind the mic yet again.
And their opponents this evening are team winner from the series, Gareth Monk.
Hey.
And Phil Carruthers.
They came for me in the night.
Yes.
Lovely start. So let's get things off to a start with Stranger Than Fiction. In this game, each team is given a true but a bit weird fact, and then they have to create two other facts which will perhaps deceive the enemies. Or other team, as others like to call them. So I'll just give the two teams their facts now.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yep.
Thank you very much.
Good. They're now going to have 30 seconds
Oh, God.
to
Lol.
write some of their own facts to go with this one. And in this period, I'm now going to have to give it a try at self-banter. So 30 seconds starts now. Teams?
Okay, right.
So I have an interesting story. Today, I went to buy some cheese. Now, most of you would wonder how that's even possible, and I tell you something, cheese is a dangerous thing. Not only is it hot when it's hot, like other things are hot, but it goes into a liquidy substance, which makes it versatile and lethal, possibly deadly. Anyway, this is just a friendly warning to all you cheese melters out there. The cheese burns. Anyway, that's the time up for the teams, I think. So,
We're fine.
It's fine.
you both ready?
We got it. We can do it.
Yeah.
Born ready.
Yes. Yes.
As it's the Rory Cooke special, start with Team Rory.
Okay.
And would you like to give Team Winner your facts?
Our first fact is there are 3 distinct types of forest fire.
Okay.
Right.
Our second fact: forests contain 70% of all the world's trees.
And our third fact is forest fires move faster uphill than downhill.
Right. Okay. Right, so the first fact was that there are 3 distinct types of forest fire. Would you care to list those for me, Rory?
Yep. Ground fire, trunk fire or mid fire, and canopy fire. So you have the leaf litter on the bottom, which burns.
That's naturally very dry.
And then you have trunk fire, which gets halfway up the trunk but doesn't quite catch the canopy.
I believe you, I'm bored now.
And
Second...
and then there are canopy fires, either are in the canopy or the whole thing burns.
It seems very plausible. Rory does conservation as well, so when it comes to trees, I feel that in that sort of area you have some sort of expertise.
I do have expertise in setting light to trees.
That was almost the tree setting fire rap there. I don't know if you noticed that our 2 sentences rhymed.
He has expertise.
Get out.
Cut that out, Dan. Cut that out.
It's begun.
I am actually releasing a record for Easter. It's going to be number 1.
Would you guys like to talk about any of the other facts?
Oh, yeah, well, I was just about to say the second fact that the 70% of the world's trees was it
70%. Forests contain 70% of all the world's
Does
trees.
this count rainforests?
They are on the world, and they are forests. So yes, it does.
Just checking.
It does seem highly plausible that the trees would be in forests as a collective term for trees, almost.
Supposedly the other 30% are accounted for in different types of gardens, just general trees on their own in the middle of a field, that kind of thing. Trees that people grow, keep as pets, you know.
If we're talking about collective nouns and collective things, this show has had a problem with collective nouns. And then I point to Dan Short, who thought a snicket of lemons was a real thing.
Lauren was very convincing, and Guy also bought it too.
So third fact is that the one that was third.
Third fact, that was that forest fires travel faster uphill than they do downhill, am I correct?
Indeed.
Right.
I suppose due to whatever thermodynamic law it is where, well, basically heat rises. That could, in theory, make sense, given that, yeah, up is more up than down.
That is true. That's flawless logic, Philip. I also, maybe it's, I don't know, I like to think that fire's quite lazy. It's like a lethargic element, so maybe just like sliding down hills.
Yeah, I need to remind you guys that throughout life, gravity has proven that going downhill is often more effective than going uphill.
Yeah, but it's not always fire that's on the menu, is it? As in, it could, when it's like toast is lazy, but fire is chuffing fire.
Point well made.
This is why we won the series. This sort of flawless logic from Phil Carruthers.
Okay, team winner. Would you like to make an estimated guesstimate?
Oh, right. Well, so fact 1 was the 3 types of forest fire. Fact 2 was that 70% of the world's trees are found in forests. Fact 3 was that forest fires tend to travel faster uphill than they do downhill. So, Phil, what do you think?
Those are all annoyingly plausible, though. Are there really distinct types of forest fire for where the fire is on the tree? That's like lots of different kinds of arson for every floor of a...
I like Phil's. I like Phil. Yeah, and it's,
I've got to complete the set. Is what I would say
if you're a serial arsonist. Right. Well, I think I reckon true, and I think you're right. I don't think the forest fires one is true. Now that you've said that, I think that's a lie. So, we've got the 70% of the world's trees or the uphill downhill.
Oh, I'm quite taken by the uphill one, though.
But that would. I think I'm going to make an executive decision. No offense, Philip, and say that the true fact is that 70% of the world's trees are found in forests.
Okay, team Rory, would you like to reveal whether or not that was the right or wrong answer?
That was the wrong answer.
Team winner, what's happened to your winning streak?
I know.
It seems to all be crumbling under the power of Rory. You have another guess, though.
I'm feeling lucky, punk. So
Why don't you flip a coin?
Team winner, 2 choices left. You could
All right,
coin
okay.
toss.
Oh gosh.
So uphill, downhill, or
3 kinds of forest fire.
You made such a good argument against the 3 kinds of forest fire that I want to say uphill, downhill.
Oh, I don't know. Let's uphill, down. Shall we just go with that? And if it's wrong, then
let's call the whole thing off. Okay, we'll go with fact 3 is the true one, which is the uphill, downhill.
I can inform you that you are unfortunately correct.
Yay! Well.
Well done, team winner. Got there in the end, didn't you? Okay, well done, team winner, for earning yourself a single point. Yeah. Bravo.
Bravo, guys.
Now it's your turn to see if you can deceive the deceivers.
Okay.
Would you like to read out your facts?
Yeah, our facts are about infidelity and cheating.
Oh,
As in
okay.
the marital kind. Our first fact is that 85% of men who die from heart attacks during intercourse are found to have been cheating on their wives.
the second fact is the most common location for cheating husbands to be caught in the act is the tunnel of love.
And our third fact is that 7 out of 10 cheating husbands spend more on their mistresses in a month than they do on their wives in a year.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Can I just be the first to say that all of those seem highly plausible? I know I'm not even guessing, but all of them do.
Right. We'll start the ball rolling then. Tunnel of love.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that... I would love it to be true. I genuinely would. However, I'm notorious for loving things to be true, guessing them, and then having them end up not being true. So I'm tempted to avoid that one specifically for that reason. But I'm not going to, because Rory's calling the shot.
Well, the interesting thing about the tunnel of love is what they think causes it is that cheating on your wife is a kind of rejection of, basically maturity in society, growing up and being dull. So basically, you end up idolising things from the past, like from your youth, like the whole funfair, carnival, tunnel of love thing.
I think that's just rubbish. And your third one about spending more on a mistress in a month than your whole wife in a year,
As opposed to half a wife.
I'm not sure about that one.
I can actually buy that one because cheating men do tend to fall quite hard for mistresses, don't they? Or they can do.
Well, in relation to the tunnel of love fact, also the reason it happens is because it's dark. It's a little bit kinky. And the third fact is that because, you know, we're talking about like gifts and extravagant things, not like, I don't know, food shopping and petrol money. That's not particularly romantic.
You see, are we talking about that? Because if you didn't write the fact, then they might be talking about food. Then that's true. And it is quite easy to spend more on your mistress in a month than your wife on a year, because, you know, if you've been married, I don't know, 15 years, you would never spend anything on your wife, because it's always the woman who spends the money.
Just to bring a bit of sexism into the equation here, because obviously we haven't touched that subject yet, most men own their houses, paying the mortgage, which I would say is a constant grind of money being forced on every woman, year after year. That is a lot of money. And unless you buy, I don't know, a special den for your mistress for that single month, or just buying a hotel, no, doesn't work.
I'm going to bring the topic back to the first fact, and that was 85%? 85% of men who died from heart attack during intercourse have been found to be cheating. Were they having intercourse with the mistress at the time, or was it the wife and this was a guilt heart attack, guilt-based attack?
Do you get your diagnoses from like ER or Grey's Anatomy? Oh, what's he done? Guilt-based heart attack. Oh God, I'm so...
died of a broken heart.
Exactly. No, they just died. They just died during intercourse, because of course the general thing about cheating husbands is that while it is done probably across the age range, I wouldn't know. Is that probably it's done more by maturer men who have become bored of their wives, maybe because they were trophy wives or they just won them in a bet or something. So they go for younger women and overexert themselves in the bedroom, thus causing them to have heart attacks because they're cheating on their wives with younger women.
So it is with the younger woman then at the time.
Well, it could be with the younger woman, or because they overexerted themselves so much the previous day with the younger woman, they're a bit tired, and then the wife's like, "Oh, come on," and then they have a heart attack.
I'm just going to go with the mistress expense.
The mistress expense. They're guessing the mistress expense.
For the true.
Yeah.
That is incorrect.
Rory!
Right, I'll go with the 85%.
Whoa!
Doesn't matter what you
hasty.
think.
Let's not be hasty here, Rory.
Team Rory. It's not Team Dan and Rory. Team Rory.
He has got a point.
I immediately regret this.
Team winner, could you reveal?
That is true. 85% of men who die from heart attacks during intercourse are found to have been cheating on their wives.
Unbelievable.
Love Tunnel was just rubbish. And I bet the mistress expense one is actually true as well.
No, that is. I made that up.
That's true.
Pretty sure my mortgage argument was fairly sound.
That was a fairly...
No. Because if you're making this up, then... Oh, never mind.
Unless it's a kind of retaliation against maybe the woman's the breadwinner in that relationship and she's become more focused on keeping things familial and kind of consumerist rather than actually keeping passion. So that's where secretaries and squirty cream get involved. They let me out of my box an hour early. I should be in my cage with a cloth over me.
Husbands spend nothing on their wives, and if we're excluding like food and heating and housing and mortgages and things, which is probably out of the equation, because mistress has to pay her own because she leads a separate life by definition of a mistress. So I think that's probably actually true, but it doesn't matter. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
Rory, if you
No. Let's move on. This is the Rory Cooke show.
The
Rory Cooke
show.
It's not the Rory Cooke and Gareth Monk show.
Are you going to run your marriage?
Who's in charge? Who's the host? Listen to me. I'm the one with the most. Okay. For God's sake, guys. Well done, Team Rory. You managed to guess on your second attempt, which earns you a single point.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Well done, Rory.
We're drawing, Phil.
Yeah, it's a good start to the show there, guys. Now, moving on to the next game. Cats and Nazis. This game is for tonight's guests, which is Phil and Dan. I'm going to give them 4 words, completely unrelated words. Their task is to link them using simple, logical steps in a grand total of 1 minute. I will be judging them harshly for accuracies and discrepancies amongst their stories. Now, we're going to start with Team Rory, and that means it's Dan.
Okay, hit me with them. What have we got?
So, Dan, your words this evening are volcano,
Yes.
spatula,
Spatula. Okay, right.
garage.
Garage.
Do you need to repeat all of these?
All of these.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, so volcano, spatula, garage, and velociraptor.
Okay.
Okay, Dan, so now that you've had a second to absorb those words,
Lovely.
we'll kick you off now.
500,000 years ago, the first volcano came into existence. It was a lonely, and it burst forth out of the ground because it wanted to say hello to all the lovely people on top of the earth. Unfortunately, it didn't realise that it burst forth underneath a kitchen where a bunch of chefs were busy cooking, and one chef did not realise this volcano would burst underneath him. He was so shocked, he grabbed the nearest implement or tool to help defend himself from what he thought was an attack by mole men, and he grabbed his spatula and he used it to bat away the volcano, and the volcano was battered away. Now, this chef, the spatula was now so hard the chef needed somewhere to put it. So he ran all around the house that his kitchen was connected to, and he finally went into the garage where he had his spare refrigerator. He chucked the spatula in, slammed the refrigerator door, and the refrigerator almost closed. Just then he heard a noise. Something clawed its way through the garage door. It was a velociraptor, and the chef did not know what to do, so he flung the fridge door open, threw the velociraptor in with the spatula. The spatula burned the velociraptor, and it died. The end.
Little unconvinced where the velociraptor came from.
Well, 500,000 years ago, first volcano, that possibly dinosaur period. I know there's a chef. I know.
Who beat off said volcano with a spatula.
Yeah, spatulas weren't invented 500,000. Oh, no, wait, I'm on your side. Yeah.
Oh,
Team Winner, do you have anything to say about this state of affairs?
I'm just astounded that anything that good won the Pulitzer Prize. How does a volcano come around and then just pops out and, you know what we'll do? You know what's a good business venture? Let's build a restaurant on top of a volcano. And then it'll just pop through and a spatula will be created out of lava. It's just ridiculous.
Have you never read a Stephen King novel? Oh, where am I going to put my new hotel? Oh, hang on, this Indian burial ground's pretty cheap.
Just realised that 500,000 years ago, velociraptors didn't exist either, because the extinction of the dinosaurs was 63
Would
million
you
years.
stop it? You're on my...
Sorry.
Okay, so, moving on.
I swear to
It's
God.
now Phil's turn to do this game.
Ooh.
His words this evening are bishop, tiger, parachute, and sting.
Sting
Sting as in the guy.
was in Sting, Gordon Sumner of
take it how
the
you
police.
Read as you will.
Right.
So I'll let you just have a second with those, and your time will start now.
Night falls on rainy Siberia, but the spirit of revolution lives on. After years of oppression of Christianity, there lives one lone bishop. But he cannot work alone, despite being a lone bishop. He tried being a lone bishop before, but nobody listened to him because he was just one man. So he enlisted the help of a tiger. An ecclesiastical tiger. He put incense in his eyes and burnt it, and that had filled him with Christianity. So they wanted to march on the Kremlin to overturn the anti-religious laws. So how to get there? Well, as luck would have it, they had access to a biplane, so they got in the biplane and flew over the Kremlin and jumped out using their parachute. But they had plotted their trajectory quite badly, and they heard someone singing about a woman not needing to turn out a red light necessarily. And so they went to investigate further, and it turned out it wasn't Mr. Khrushchev or any other person from Russia. It did turn out to be Sting, who told them that they didn't have to turn out the red light, but that wasn't applicable at the time.
Very good, very good.
Wow, that was spectacular. Though I'm a religious kind of guy, and I've never shoved incense into my eyes before to kind of get that Christian hit.
You've never had to deal with an atheist tiger before that needed converting.
Still truer than the Bible. Team Rory, do you have anything to say on the matter?
I was going to say something like incense in the eyes is the fastest way to convert someone to a tiger even to Christianity. When has incense even been vaguely Christian?
You believe that you can beat a volcano down with a spatula.
I don't believe it. I said the words. I didn't have to believe them.
Well, they use those incense, smoky lantern things in churches, and churches are full of Christianity. I don't think it's a coincidence that incense Christianity, you throw tigers into the mix, it's all good.
Phil, have you ever been to church? I can assure you now, it's not full of tigers. There aren't Siberian tigers lurking in the pews, hidden in the altar.
Siberian tigers.
He was from Siberia, so there must have been a Siberian tiger, because that would have undermined the whole story if it wasn't a Siberian tiger.
But if there aren't any tigers in churches, then where does the holy water come from?
I'll be honest, it's one way. Church sermons have been known to get pretty boring. That's one way I could guarantee that an audience would be listening to everything. If you say at the start, ladies and gentlemen, there is a Siberian tiger wandering around here, I will tell you where it is at some point during this sermon.
Yeah, that would pretty much convert me to Christianity if they chased me around with a tiger saying, "Believe in Jesus, believe in Jesus, convert or I'll put incest and tigers in your eyes."
Incest.
A Freudian slip there for Rory.
It's my northern twang.
I'm just going to start a tally of Rory's mistakes here. There's number
Rory's
one.
disturbing slip.
Anyway, so I think both stories were quite plausible. You have to award a point each there, I think.
Ah, you Lib Dem.
I know, but this is the Rory Cooke special. And as a special treat, because it is the Rory Cooke special, I'm going to get a random word off everyone, and he is going to perform Cats and Nazis solo.
For no point.
Yay!
That's what you get with the Rory Cooke special. So, shall we start with Dan? You can have first choice word.
Okay. I'm going to go with Agamemnon.
Phil.
Butterscotch.
Can mine be a person?
Yep. We've already got one person.
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh God.
And Seth?
Jupiter. Power.
I'm unfazed.
So we've now taken the 4 words off everyone else that isn't Rory. And Rory,
I can do more than 4.
in a minute.
Yep.
Oh! Bonus
gloves
word.
are off.
Bonus word.
Bonus word.
Bonus word. Should
More.
we ask one of those random people in there for a bonus word? Do you want me to go do that?
I mean, this isn't time consuming or anything.
Yeah, it's not like we've only got this room for a certain amount of time.
Sorry, it's not like our time he's wasting.
No.
Yeah, he was late anyway.
Yawn.
Goosebumps.
Nice.
Oh God! I
Nice.
wasn't expecting that one.
She said help first, and then I went, no, make it weirder.
Okay, so Rory has set himself a challenge here by giving himself 5 words instead of 4 to link in a minute, which is roughly 1 word every 12.5 seconds. It's roughly 1 word every 12.2 seconds.
Every 12 seconds.
12.2 seconds. I'm giving you an extra second, Rory, because I think you're going to need it. Right, anyway, so your words are Agamemnon, Butterscotch, Tarantino, Moon, and Goosebumps.
Good luck.
Time me up,
Rory.
Seth.
Is he going to get any points for this?
No. And your time starts now.
Agamemnon, made famous by Shakespeare and some other military feats he did. He was quite a good man, and like all great men, he had a weakness, and he was addicted to butterscotch, actually, and because he had a bad throat all the time, or so he claimed. And people know this, people know all about this, and especially Tarantino, and he once made a film about Agamemnon, and this butterscotch featured very heavily. Tarantino is a bit weird, so he actually set it on one of the moons of Jupiter, which was Ganymede, which added a little twist to the story. I thought that the butterscotch would fly in the air and he would fly after it and eat it all up. But Tarantino, he didn't believe in the gravity, so he just put it all back in the bowl, and that's the randomness of Tarantino. And this freaked me out because I believe in gravity, and so I got goosebumps when I watched this film. Ha 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 ha.
Wow.
Wow.
It was okay.
Well done, Rory. Well done, Rory. That was simple and logical.
Really? That was logical.
I think that was the most simple, logical steps between any topics ever. So I am on form. This is the Rory Cooke show.
You don't have a form to be on because this is the first show you've ever done.
It's also terrible. Anyway, so...
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You know, anyone could list words, Rory. It's not hard. Making it an elaborate story. I said at the start that we make storybooks of misguided lies. That wasn't a storybook. That was just a dictionary.
Yeah, Rory Cooke. Make
words.
a storybook.
That was how David Bowie writes lyrics. He just takes words out of a hat and then throws them on the floor.
You're worse than the Black Eyed Peas. Worse than Bono. Think about that, Rory. Moving on.
No. What?
I'm host. Moving on.
No. Bono.
Take those sunglasses off, you weirdo.
Sorry.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to collaborative fiction, which is a game that involves everyone, but it will be played in their teams as pairs. Each player will be given a single word, and they will have various other words that they can't say. They will then take it in turns, back and forth, to tell a story whilst cunningly concealing their word. Then it will be up to the other person on their team to guess that word at the end. So we'll start with team winner, and I'm just going to give you both your words now. Just want to have a look at them. Only the audience at home can hear this. Gareth's word is fountain, and he cannot say the words water, spray, pen, wash, youth, or bowl. Phil's word is file, and he cannot say the words folder, cabinet, nail, order, or line. Okay, so you've both had a chance to look at your words. We're going to go back and forth 3 times between each of you whilst you cunningly conceal your word. So now, your story today begins with Tinkerbella Tinkerbella was walking down the street. And we'll start with Gareth.
Tinkerbella was walking down the street one day when she came across a giant concrete monument to liquid. And from this concrete monument, liquid was exhumed in an upward fashion, violently.
The movement of the liquid in the concrete monument so excited her that she decided to quantify this data in a manageable way.
Say that again.
But of course, quantifying data takes a lot of effort. It's thirsty work. And Tinkerbella needed a drink.
She did need a drink, and she got some coffee that wasn't very well made with silt at the bottom of it, so she used that silt to make her cuticles smoother.
The smoothing of her cuticles was also aided by this concrete testament to the vitality of life, one that she bathed in to regain her vigour.
She felt so vigored that indeed she consulted the record of how vigored she felt and found a 40% increase on the last financial quarter.
End. Well done, guys. Okay, Phil, do you want to have a crack at Gareth's word first?
Was it a fountain?
Yes!
Yeah,
Well done,
very
Phil.
well done. Well, that saves a lot of trouble. Gareth, do you want to have a go at Phil's word?
Oh, I'm a bit... I'm not as certain. Collecting data in a quantifiable way. Was it...
There was a...
Collecting data in a quantifiable way. There was silt and cuticles. Pie chart?
Your guess is a pie chart.
From cuticles.
Well, there was data. There's no data in cuticles.
Maybe it's a word with more than one meaning.
Yeah, maybe it's homonymous.
Thank you, Phil.
Maybe I'm a linguistics student, but don't pay much attention to my degree. Do I get 2 guesses?
Yeah.
You can have another guess, because pie chart was wrong, surprisingly.
Yeah. Spreadsheet?
I'll put you out of your misery. It was file.
Ah!
Cuticles, file.
It's very clever.
Probably the best I've...
Very well concealed,
That was
Phil.
Too clever for me. I'm sorry.
But unfortunately only 1 point to your team. But well done, both of you. Very good. Now we'll move on to Dan and Rory. Oh, sorry. We'll now move on to Team Rory.
Featuring Dan.
Oh, skip.
We'll now move on to Team Rory,
Featuring Dan.
but mostly Rory.
There's no Dan in team.
There's no Rory in team, are you?
There isn't Team Rory, though.
Okay, let's do this.
Those are your words.
Okay.
Just want to make sure that you can read those, because I appreciate that my handwriting is somewhat bad.
Okay.
And this was done in a hurry. Only the audience at home can hear this. Rory's word is cling film, and he is transparent, kitchen, food, cover, see-through, or grip. Dan's word is old, and he cannot say the word youth, young, age of any number, or decay. Have you had a chance to absorb that information?
Yes. Okay.
Good. Right then. Your story today. We'll go back and forth. We'll start with Dan.
Okay.
And I'm messing the status quo of captain to guess there, but it's always fun to finish with Rory. Actually, no. We're going to start with Rory and go to Dan. It's always fun to start with Rory. So your story will begin. Begins with, it was a very slow day for Steve.
It was a very slow day for Steve, and he wanted to preserve himself. So he went in the area where you would find pots and pans and sinks, and took from the cupboard something he was going to put around his body.
Steve really did want to preserve himself because Steve was becoming aware. He was becoming aware that he'd chalked up another figure on the wall, and that he was one day closer to that inevitable end.
He was one day closer to that inevitable end, but before it ended, he saw there was tinfoil, but he didn't want that. He wanted what goes with tinfoil normally, or is the other choice to cover up on the wall.
Yes, he went with the other choice because he knew that he was getting on. He wasn't like he used to be. He wasn't like he used to be after he'd just been born, after he had been born, and he knew he was never going to be like that again.
He knew he was never going to be like that again, but he still wanted to make sure he was well preserved using something instead of the thing, and he used tinfoil instead.
Tinfoil instead, because as he realised, he was too far advanced. He was at that stage where he was just too far advanced and his brain did not function like it used to, and tinfoil was the only answer.
Finn. Wow. Well, let's just start the ball rolling a little bit here. Dad, do you have a guess at Rory's word?
This is so easy.
Don't even.
Is it cling film?
Yes!
Did you give him? Did you just write down the word "the" that he could say, and he could say everything else except cling film?
It was probably my fault for not putting the word tinfoil on, so you get a point. Right.
Oh, what? After all that?
Okay.
Okay.
Now on to my slightly more skillfully concealed word.
Can you just remind me of what you said?
It's talking about not being in.
Very emphasis on preserve.
Yes,
not
being preserved,
as young.
not being as advanced. Sorry, yeah, being as advanced, not being in the state he was when he was born. Aware that he was getting on.
Is it a concept?
It could be a concept.
Is it just aging or age or?
No, not that abstract, but close. Try harder.
He wasn't. He was at the stage where he wasn't. He was advanced.
You're gonna have to push him for an answer.
Maturity or mature?
Nope.
What was it?
Old.
Ages.
Aging.
Okay. So both teams managed to scrape a point apiece there.
Are we still drawing?
Yes, we are.
Oh, God.
Our next game this evening is The Curious Case of Mr. DeVries. This game is for tonight's captains. Now, I've read some biographies recently that just were pretty poo, to be honest. So I've taken a few key moments and really good things from their life, and I just want them to be retold by our captains. So we'll start with Gareth, who's got the life
Of Miss Taken. Oh, we had that one already.
age 48.
Okay.
She is secretly the superhero Flower. I want to explain the comings of that and how this affects her life.
Okay.
She is in a long-term relationship with a rubber duck. Kind of want to know a little bit like that as well. And she also holds the world record for the longest time spent in a chimney.
Okay.
So just explain all these details for me, please. You've got a minute as per the game, and that starts now.
Okay, Miss Taken, age 48. At the age of 12, Miss Taken was wandering through a field of tulips when suddenly she found a plutonium rod. However, this plutonium rod had mutated the tulips into some horrible wild tulip beasties. One of them bit her, giving her the power to shoot vines from her fingers and grow slowly and absorb energy from the sun in a quite a boring fashion. And she became the superhero Flower. But as we all know, all superheroes still have their alter egos, which is mistaken, obviously. And because she was a superhero, she didn't want to hurt anyone. She didn't want to get in a relationship with a man and see him shot down by her arch nemesis, the Weed Killer. So she thought, well, it's safer if I'm in a relationship with an inanimate object. I will be in a relationship with a rubber duck, and I will marry it, and I will love it. I'll do all the things I would for a husband. I'll cook it bacon, and what other things do wives do for husbands? I don't know. I'm innocent and naive. However, she needed money to keep this rubber duck relationship afloat, so she decided to become a chimney sweep for a living. The actual chimney sweep thing you sweep chimneys with, and she got stuck and had the world record for spending time in a chimney.
I'm sorry, what word was that at the end?
A lot of common sense there. I mean, I've seen a killer tulip. Didn't live to tell the tale. That was very good, Gareth. Rory, quite a plate to step up to. So, your person, Mr. Corey Rook. Age 32. He was born in the wrong century, yet lives today. Just explain how that has happened. Along that journey, I'm sure there's some account of knowing what flies think. And also somehow has acquired a fear of opening doors. Cannot open doors.
I know what that means.
So, Rory Cooke, please do tell the life of Mr. Corey Rook now.
Corey Rook, age 32, was born in the wrong century, so therefore isn't 32. He's more like 320, because it was the century before he was born. But he still lives today because of time shifts and time shares. And he was sold one whilst on holiday in Benidorm, a timeshare, and he decided to go into space, and then he went through a time shift, and in the time shift he went to the universe where flies dominate, aka the year 3000. And that's how he knows what flies think, because they actually dance to each other what they think, and he can interpret this. And his fear of doors has come from being born in centuries where there aren't doors and turning up in centuries where there are doors. And also not wanting to crush flies with the swooping of the door, so he won't open doors. That is the story of Corey Rook.
Very good.
Surprisingly impressive.
We see magic historians would take up kind of conflict with your view that flies were running the world in the year 3000. They said in the year 3000 not much has changed, but people live underwater.
I mean, also, I think they could test that, Rory, your great-great-great-granddaughter, she's looking pretty fine.
It's a tough call, guys. Point apiece.
Oh, for God's sake!
Moving on! Okay, moving on to our final round now, which is stop, elaborate, and listen. This is for all of tonight's contestants. Basically, what I want them to do is to elaborate a story for me. Each of them will add a segment of the story, piece by piece, but they have to remember what has already been said whilst adding. And this will happen 3 times, and they will just go faster and faster, and it will be amazing. Promise. Can I just point out at this juncture in time that if Rory wins this, he wins the entire series, a series which he has not even been a part of.
That means everyone. Every episode.
Oh,
even this one.
So this story will go from guest, captain. We'll be going Phil, Dan, Gareth, Rory. Right. The story starts. Timmy O'Toole had lost his tiny teeth.
Timmy O'Toole had lost his tiny teeth in an underground Queensberry Rules boxing match. He was only 7, but times were tough thanks to the new budget.
Timmy O'Toole had lost an underground Queensbury Rules boxing ring. Times were tough for Timmy, but he decided that he was going to get his teeth back, and to do so he had to raise some money.
Timmy O'Toole has lost his tiny teeth in an underground Queensbury Rules boxing match because times were tough because of the new budget. He decided he needed to raise some money, so he decided that he would actually become a illegal tooth fairy and steal teeth from children's bed to sell on the black market.
Timmy O'Toole had lost his tiny teeth and decided to join an underground Queensborough boxing syndicate. And times were tough because of the new budget cuts, so he decided to get some money by pretending to be a knockoff tooth fairy. This actually got him in trouble with the police a number of times, and one time Captain Von Slacker of the Huddersfield Police caught him.
Some tiny teeth were lost by one Timmy O'Toole in a Queensbury Rules underground boxing match syndicate type thing. Enraged, but still inspired to go on, he went off to get some money to buy teeth by pretending to be the tooth fairy and stealing people's teeth. This got him into trouble with the teeth police, with Mr. Von Slacker from Huddersfield Yard, who agreed he'd collect all of the city's biscuits in one mound for him to lay in.
Timmy O'Toole had lost some tiny teeth in an underground Queensbury Rules boxing syndicate. Times were tough because of the new budget, and Timmy decided he was going to try and get his teeth back by earning some money by being a knockoff tooth fairy. This got him in trouble with the Huddersfield Police, and in Huddersfield Yard, Captain Von Slacker was going to crack down on Timmy. He made a deal with Timmy when he brought him in that if Timmy collected all of the town's biscuits in a mound, that he would let him off. However, this police chief had a dark secret because he was the real tooth fairy.
Timmy O'Teeth lost some tiny tools in a Queensborough Park boxing match, and he needed some money because there was budget cuts and times were tough, so he became an illegal tooth fairy, but that didn't work out. He got caught by the Huddersfield Police. Baron Von Schlacker, of course, of Huddersfield Yard, wanted all the biscuits so he could roll around them in his bath. But of course, Baron Von Schlacker had a dark secret that he was the real biscuit tooth fairy, and he liked to collect biscuits and swap them for people's teeth.
Tiny teeth and lost some tiny Queen's Boxing Rules syndicate underground. And he lost his teeth and times were tough because of the budget, so he decided to become a knockoff tooth fairy, and this got him in trouble with the teeth police, especially Baron von Schlocker, who caught him and said, "I'll make a deal with you. If you don't tell people my dark secret that I'm a tooth fairy, I'll let you live." That didn't happen. He decided that he should collect all the town's biscuits so he could roll around in a mound of them, and this will let him off. However, he got a round of biscuits for everyone.
A young boy gets lost in an uncaring adult world, loses his teeth in a Queensbury Rules boxing match. Enraged but inspired to go on, he gets a job as an underground knockoff tooth fairy, but gets in trouble with a police chief, von Hausenberg and Slacker, who was the real tooth fairy, but he didn't know that yet due to the dramatic irony. Meanwhile, he wants all the biscuits in Huddersfield into a bath which he can roll around in a decadent manner. He trades teeth for biscuits because that's just how he rolls in a kind of cruel, ironic way. And if Timmy O'Toole gets all the biscuits in one place, he'll be let off. But there is a catch to this, because in Huddersfield there is no such thing as the law, and this is all a facade.
God bless us, everyone, said Tiny Tim after he lost all of his teeth in the Queensbury Rules underground illegal boxing syndicate match. Times were tough because of the new budget cuts, and Timmy decided he was going to get his teeth back by becoming a knockoff tooth fairy. However, this got him in trouble with the captain of the Huddersfield Police, Baron von Schlickenschlacken, and he decided that he was going to make a deal with Timmy. If his dark secret wasn't given out, then Timmy would get all of the biscuits in the town into a mound so he could roll about them in a really decadent and horrible manner. However, the Baron got all the biscuits together in one big super biscuit, which started rolling downhill and threatened to crush Huddersfield.
A small underground box had lost the child that was contained within it and those teeth. He decided to become a legal tooth fairy to get back this child. However, the box could not be a legal tooth fairy because he was captured by Baron von Sauerkraut of the Huddersfield SS, and decided to collect all the biscuits to give to Baron von Sauerkraut so that he would release the small child and his teeth that were in his captivity. However, Baron von Sauerkraut had a dastardly plan to collect all these biscuits and not roll them out in a decadent fashion that was his previous way, but no, to form a giant super biscuit that was he would roll downhill, and then he did, and it would threaten to crush the town hall. And the mayor in the town hall said, "God damn it, if we don't get Flower Girl here right now. This thing's going to go downhill, literally.
Tinny the Tiny Tooth Tool joined an underground boxing syndicate and got his teeth knocked out because of the harsh budget, which was a blow to everyone. He was arrested by the Von Nasty of the Huddersfield SS, who you can collect all the town's biscuits. However, the Von Nasty was actually the Tooth Fairy, which I forgot to mention earlier. Then later collected all the biscuits, put them in a mound, put them in a bath so the SS officer could roll about them in a decadent fashion. He then thought, what we need is a super biscuit, one that fires lasers and rolls everywhere, and rolls into the town hall so we can take this town of Huddersfield. It rolled into the town hall and reduced itself into crumbs, and the mayor said, oh no, if only Flower Girl was here to stop this cookie from going downhill like this story. In the end, Humpty Dumpty fell off a wall and a cake was made.
Happily ever after.
Wow. Well done, everyone. Give yourself a round of applause for me, Rory. A very good story indeed. Okay, so the points in that game are going to go to Team Winner, sadly.
No!
Dan, you're off Team Rory.
Yeah, well done. That means you are the overall winners of tonight.
Damn right we are.
A total of 6.
Nice.
Beating Team Rory's pathetic, miserable, and somewhat terrible 4.
Damn it, Rory.
So anyway, as you are tonight's winners, you get to choose the song that's played out. Have you thought about this at all?
We have the first song we ever won with on A Matter of Fiction was Gold by Spandau Ballet. We like to round off our winnings repeating that. So I think, Phil, would you like to just make the formal announcement?
We'd like Gold by Spandau Ballet.
Yeah.
Very good. Gold it is. Well, that ends the Rory special. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I've learned so today that Rory will run his future marriage like Chairman Mao ran China. Learn that mortgages and food bills don't actually count the expenses when married. A somewhat surprising thing that I've learned today is that forests contain trees. Also learned that wives cook bacon for their rubber ducks. I'm also very much concerned that in the year 3000 flyers will be running the world and humans will be living underwater. But the best thing that I've learned today is that secretaries and squirty cream are the bedrock of any good marriage. I've been Seth Allen, you've been listening to A Matter of Fiction. Good night.
Rory Cooke here. Thanks for listening to the show. It is actually the last of the series and the last one of this year. But we will be back, so tune back in September. Thanks for listening.
This show was brought to you by Banger Comedy. For information on more shows, radio broadcasts, and how you can get involved, check us out on Facebook. Just search Banger Comedy. Or send us an email at comedy@undeb.banger.ac.uk.